Jumptown 2.1 returns, and with it, a bunch of Warbonds. Let's take a look. First up, we have the A2 Hercules. Okay, so this is going to be weird, so those of you that have been watching all of my videos, and especially those that are new, try and stick with me because this is going to be the first time that I'm going to recommend a concept ship on the left. And I'll show you why here in a minute. Okay, so right off the bat, it's a $75 discount for savings, okay? Good chunk of discount if you go with one of these two concept ships. Now, I'll get into the Carrack stuff later, but these two concept ships, right, they're both $650 right now. They're guaranteed to increase in price, maybe as high as $750, right? But here's the thing. Both of these two ships, even though they're concept ships, have had Warbond sales. They've both had Warbond CCU sales in the past, very recently. Look at this. Last year in November. That's IAE, guys. Just for all of you that are, again, new to the game, IAE is International Aerospace Expo. It is a huge event during the month of November that kicks off a boatload of sales. There's usually new Warbond sales every day. We'll see how they're going to do it this coming November, but it's like the biggest sale of the year next to Invictus. So be prepared for that one. I'll have coverage for it, but it's way out, right? We're only in July. Anyway, the Orion and the Merchantman have both had Warbond sales. So let me show you both of these. We've got the Merchantman here, usually a $50 discount, and it comes up pretty often, right? And here's the other thing, the Orion. It was a $75 discount when it came up in IAE of last year. Okay, let that sink in for a second. This is the reason I'm going to say it's okay to use either the Orion or the Banu Merchantman on the left over here, which is usually not allowed, right? We try to avoid that because of the price increases in the sale price of the ship and in the Warbonds, etc., and in the decrease in the savings amount you can actually get long term. But here's the main reason, again, is because they have Warbond sales on these two particular concept ships. Most concept ships don't really get a Warbond sale or a Warbond discount on the CCU. If you buy the ship outright, it's always at a discount as a concept ship. But when you have a Warbond CCU that comes up for either one of these ships, especially one that's another $75, like that's huge, right? So at a $650 ship price point, do we have any 650s up? No, we don't. I was hoping I could demonstrate it over here on the left. But if we look down the stack here for sub 650 ship, I don't remember what you would have purchased from as the from when you went to a Merchantman or Orion. But maybe a Hull D or something, because they were both concept ships. That could have worked. But it's still like $100. Probably the Carrack, right? Because it'd be a $50. No, because it'd be a $600. You couldn't have grabbed the Carrack because it's a $600 ship after the discount for the Merchantman and the Orion. So $575 be a Liberator or something, or a Rastra. Yeah, because they're both concepts. I might have said those are okay. Again, when there's two concepts, you can use it. And in this particular use case, it's okay. And the reason is, if you pick this, $75 off the top, right? Let's say I pick the Merchantman, okay? $25 to save $75. Well, the discount for the Merchantman on the CCU Warbond is $50. So you're saving 50 and then 75. That's $125 that may get a little messed up. You might lose some of this $25 worth of savings because of the increase in price, but you're saving so much by using both of these in a chain to get to the M2 that it just doesn't freaking matter, right? 125 to you're basically spending 25 and then whatever you spent for this a $600 ship. What did I say? The Arastra or the Liberator. So you're spending 50 to save $125. That's pretty much worth it in all the maths, right? And again, you can buy the Liberator at a discount right now. Well, not right now. Sorry. I will reiterate, when the Liberator is available to purchase over here in the CCU game, you can buy it for a normal discount, non-Warbond price. That's a huge amount of savings if you link these all together. And that's why it works for this particular Warbond purchase. Both the Orion and the Merchantman. The Merchantman is way more prevalent. It's probably going to come back more often. It has been here way more often, 5x, right? But the Orion's discount was $75. So if you have the Orion Warbond from last year when it went on sale, and you're going to the A2 or beyond the A2, I'm absolutely going to say get this. Get this now. It makes sense. Both are concepts. Both give pretty amazing discounts. Merchantman is $25 less of savings, but it's still a decent discount, and it's more likely that somebody will have that one in their hangar. So again, not normally will I recommend a concept ship over here on the right. In fact, I'm going to talk about 2 of them in the future in this video that I'm going to say don't do it because they're concept ships. But these particular use cases are actually totally viable because of the stacking amount of savings. Even if you lose all $25 in savings here, because this, let's say this goes up to be a, I don't know, exactly $750 ship. Let's say the Merchantman retails for, upon release, a $750 sale. Okay, $750 price rather. Yeah, you lose $25, but you're still saving $75 on this ship because of the Warbond, and you're saving $50 on this Warbond if you have it. And it's even more if you have the Orion. It's 75 and 75. So that's, okay, I've said it. You can use both the Orion and the Merchantman, especially if you already have them. Totally makes sense. Don't worry about any of this other nonsense down here. Don't worry about going all the way to the Carrack, spending 75 to save 75. That's the low. Remember, that's the lowest ratio. Save $1, spend $1. The lowest ratio that we will accept is spending $1 to save $1. 1-to-1 ratio is as low as we'll go. If it's you spend $2 and save $1, that doesn't make it worth it. If you spend $1 and you save $3, that's fantastic. That's amazing. That's what this is. Spend 25 to save 75. That's exactly what this is. 3-to-1 ratio. That's really good. But anything down here, the only other one that I would consider if you don't want to worry about speculation or anything with the Orion or if you didn't get either of these, right? You're going to be, that's a pretty big speculation if you don't already have these Warbonds in your hangar. But I'm guessing at this point, at least the majority of people watching this video have probably one or both of those. So going down the stack, Carrack is the only one that makes sense. Yes, it's the only one that makes sense. The standard Carrack here, not the Carrack with C8X or the Carrack Expedition or the Carrack Expedition with C8X. These are rare ships. They will most likely, I'm using air quotes that you can't see, most likely never have a Warbond CCU. Not saying it's not possible, not saying 100%, just saying it's very unlikely that they're ever going to hit the CCU chain and probably just won't ever see them. The rest down here are absolutely concepts. However, you're spending 100 to save 75, so that breaks the ratio rule, right? 1-to-1. If you don't want to speculate at all, go with the Carrack, spend 75 to save 75. But I think you're still better off choosing one of these in this very, very rare and amazing instance where you can stack up some concept savings with a Warbond twice. This is amazing savings. So the Merchantman or the Orion, totally viable. I bless these CCU links in your chain for sure. Next up, we have the Ion here. $30 discount, so that's good. Let's see where it takes us. Okay, so we've got the Hurricane, Connie Taurus, Vulcan, Heartseeker Mark 1. Warning for the Mark 1 here. A1 Spirit, and not enough, leaving too much savings on the table after that, I think. I mean, even the Firebirds spend 35 to save 30, so that's below our ratio. We wouldn't consider that. All right, let's go through the stack here. First up is the Hurricane. Let's jump over to the CCU game app again. So the first possibility here is the Hurricane linking to the Ion. It's had quite a few Warbonds. It is a ship that has had a price increase, so take that for what it is. You used to be able to buy it way cheaper, and even with a $10 discount, it was significantly less than it is now with a 15. And to get it back to the original price, you'd need a $25 Warbond discount, which doesn't seem very likely in the at all ever. But you can expect, if it goes on Warbond sale again, you'll get a $10 or $15 discount, which is pretty good. Again, to link to that would be a different video. So it does make a good choice for this link in the chain from going from it to the Ion. Next up is the Connie Taurus. It's only had a couple Warbonds, but they have been relatively recent. It looks like once per year or so. Seems like a decent choice. Not a terrible choice here. Again, you're leaving $10 more on the table than the Hurricane, but again, leaving 10 on the table may open up different options based on the CCUs you already have in your hangar. And again, you got to remember that not everybody has been playing the CCU game for 6 months or even a year or even 2 or 3 years, right? Some of them just maybe got the game during Invictus and they just found out about the CCU game, and maybe this is even their first video trying to understand it. So again, there's always different ways to get to the ship you want through the CCU game, and there's always another ship that you may want that you can use the leftovers for. What I try and recommend is figuring out which ships you actually want and then figure out the chains to get there, rather than just buying all the CCUs that come up in Warbond form, or trying to kind of guess at what the future will hold. It's better to just understand what ships you want and get there, and then when it's complete, well, then you apply all those CCU chains and create the ship. But I digress. The Connie Taurus makes an okay choice because it does seem to come up often enough, but again, not as great of a deal as the Hurricane because it leaves $10 more on the table. The next possibility here is the Mark 1, warning, Mark 1 Super Hornet Heartseeker. If you already have this in your stable, obviously this makes a possibility for you. You're not leaving too much on the table, but you're leaving more than the Hurricane. So not the best choice unless, again, you're completing it now, you're not worried about long-term savings, etc. And you absolutely already have a Warbond with the Heartseeker Mark II. For those of you new to the CCU game, if you don't already have the Hornet, this specific ship, the F7CM Super Hornet Heartseeker Mark I Warbond, or non-Warbond for that matter, in your hangar right now, as of this moment, there's a high likelihood you will never be able to get it again. So I would not recommend this. If you're just new to the CCU game and you don't have this already, do not make any of the Mark I Super Hornets part of any of your CCU chains. These ships have been discontinued. They may leave them into the CCU game, but we have not figured out if that's going to be the case or not. They did say that they will make it available to purchase in the future, or actually I think they phrased it as there will be ways to get it in the future, right? Which probably means in-game events or something, right? They have made it pretty clear that it will not be in the store as of, I think last week is when they took them all out, or maybe even today when they removed the Saber. I didn't look before today, so it may have just gotten removed today. They should not be in the store. Do not count on them being in the store, and definitely do not include them in your chains because there's a high likelihood you won't be able to get them. Going back to the story, you can see that I did in fact skip the Vulcan one more time. Actually, every time. I'm probably never going to stop talking about concept ships on the left here. For anybody new to the CCU game, and I apologize for those of you that have been playing and watching my videos for a long time. Anytime we put a concept ship over here, the chance is likely that your savings will be reduced in the future. The reason for that is that concept ships always increase in price. I don't believe that there has been a concept ship yet that has not increased in price when it was released to the verse, and sometimes in between during its development time as well. So, putting this over here, let's do a quick example for you. It's a $200 ship now. This is a $250 ship. You spend $20 and you save $30, right? That's what the math is. So, in the future, let's say that the Vulcan goes up in price to a $220 ship, right? So, If you bought this now and the ship price increases, you would have spent $20 to only save $10. The ratio that we always want to have when buying Warbond CCUs is a minimum of you spend $1, you save $1. Ideally, you want to spend $1 and save $2 or $3, right? Some of those come up every once in a while, and it's fantastic. You spend like $20 and you save 60, although I don't think that particular use case has come up. Something like that, right? You spend 10, you save 30. Those kinds of deals are the ones we really love and really look forward to. But this one, you'd be spending the inverse, right? You would spend double than what you save, again, if the Vulcan goes to 220. I have a feeling this ship could be somewhere between 215 and like 230, so who really knows? Maybe it would be less impactful, or maybe it would be even more impactful. Keep that in mind, and that's why we don't tend to put Warbond, we don't use concept ships in Warbond sales unless, for whatever reason, the concept ship is on the right, or exceptional savings like the one we outlined earlier with the Orion and or Banu Merchantman going to the M2. Unless something like that comes into play. There's probably some other more advanced reasons to do it too, but for all you beginners, just try to not put it over here. Unless, again, I think I talked about it in one of the previous possible chains, maybe for the A2, unless you're completing this thing today, you already got some random smoking deal on the Vulcan, maybe you got it for free at somebody's giveaway or something, and you did in fact want the Ion, sure, go ahead. That makes sense. But usually, it's better to wait till they get released if you're putting it on the left. If you're going to speculate on the right, with the Vulcan over here on the right, that's something entirely different. All right, now having said that, I think we talked about the Heartseeker already. The A1 Spirit makes a better deal than the Heartseeker. A1 Spirit's had quite a few Warbond sales as well. Makes a good option if you're going this far down the stack and you're leaving, you're okay with leaving $10 on the table from the Hurricane Warbond. Again, here I'll show you what it looks like. You'd spend, again, 20 to save 30, right? So that's still a pretty good ratio. It's better to spend 10 and save 30. That's just simple math, right? So that's more ideal. But again, if you're in the $200 range, Taurus makes an okay shot. Heartseeker is very niche. Again, you have to have it already. Vulcan is a bad decision because it's concept. A1 Spirit makes the best option, in my opinion, at the $200 mark because it seems to come around very, 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 very often. Next up, we have the Cutlass Steel. Spend some money and save 25 right off the top, so that's good. Let's see what our options are. Most of the same ones that we just went over. Connie Taurus is spend 10 to save 25. Best ratio automatically makes it the best choice because it's not a super rare ship. Vulcan, I think we just went over that to death. Heartseeker, very niche. You have to have it already, otherwise don't use it. A1 Spirit makes an excellent choice, and I think because it's also in the $200 range of the Taurus, I would prefer the A1 over the Taurus. If you already have the Taurus, of course, don't change things up just because I said this A1 Spirit makes a better decision. I always talk long term, and I always try and speak from the point of someone who's just joining the CCU game, right? If you just started today, you have no other Warbond CCUs, I think it would be best to pick the A1. Obviously, if you already have 3 Connie Taurus Warbonds from the last time it went on sale, that's going to make a way better choice for you, especially if you don't happen to have any of the A1 Spirit Warbonds that have been recently for sale. So, for the newbies, or for oldies that just tune in to listen to my bantering and pathetic attempts at comedy, of course, pick which one makes the most sense for your current or future chains. For those that are newbies, if you had to choose between the Taurus and the A1 Spirit, I'd pick the Spirit. Going down the stack here, again, concept ship, so we skip it. It's the same boat as the Vulcan up here. The Sabre Firebird was very recently for a Warbond sale for a very long time, nearly a month. So if you happen to have one of those in your stable, you could pick this one. Ratio's okay, right? This is the bottom of the ratio. Spend 25 to save 25. It is released. It's not a concept ship. That's an okay one, especially if you're going to complete it today and you only happen to have this one from the most recent sale. That works. I would allow it. What else do we have? The standard Sabre Comet. let's go to the CCU game app and see what that looks like. So this is a great example of a ship you may not want to have in any of your chains right now. And I say that because it's never had a war bond, or if it did, it was pre-2021. And again, if you're new to the game or even semi-old to the game, I mean, this is 3 years ago, right? There haven't been any war bond CCUs. So there's nothing for you to pick from in your stable. You wouldn't have it. I don't even know if I had any freebies for this particular ship from way back in 2016 or something. I'll have to look through. But anyway, this one I would not recommend because, well, just what I went through. There haven't been any war bond sales for this particular ship, not even for the standalone, right? Like they've given better insurance on it throughout the years for different events, ILW and IAE here, well, basically every year since 2022 at least. But there haven't been any war bond CCUs for sale for the ship, which makes it a super rare ship, one of those rare ships that has never had a war bond CCU. So I would not recommend it to use in this part of the chain for sure. And until it hits the CCU war bond cycle, I don't think I would want to add it to any of my chains. Going down the stack a little further, we see another Mark I Hornet. Again, don't use these unless you already have them. It doesn't appear that they're going to come back. I'll leave it at that. Freelancer miss, again, you're just leaving so much on the table. You're spending 35 to save 25. It's just not a good deal. I can't see this making sense at all. You'd probably be way better off finding, like, again, if you have a war bond for a Freelancer miss somehow, which doesn't seem plausible because it's never had one. or if it did, again, it was pre-2021. I think I have one of the old freebies from 2016 rather. So I know it's possible, and there may have been one between 2016 and 2021 that I've just forgotten and didn't account for. But anyway, if you did have one of these for some reason, you'd be better off going from something to the Cutlass steel like the Taurus, right? And then going from the Taurus to, from the Freelancer Mist to the Taurus, even if it was in a non-war bond CCU, just using stored credit or something, you'd be better off doing that. And anything else, again, 175 and less, you're leaving so much on the table that I just would not recommend it. Even the Hornet Mark II, if you got the free upgrade from for the Mark II Hornet, I still wouldn't recommend using that one. You'd be better off using that, applying it, and then going from the Hornet to something else in between, and then going up to the steel with one of these $200 ones that make way more sense, the Connie Taurus or the A1 Spirit. Last but not least, and this was a very welcome surprise, having a ship down at the $120 mark, the Nova. I said ship, didn't I? Okay, vehicle, but whatever. Looks like $10 savings right off the bat. Again, generally speaking, the savings decrease as you go down the price stack from somewhere around like 90 to 140 or so. Generally speaking, the discount will be about $10. Below that, it'll be spend 5 to save 5. Sometimes in really good scenarios, spend 5 to save 10. So let's take a look at what we can make out of this one. We've got everything from the M50 down to maybe the Storm. Herald, that'd be spending 25. Yeah, that's too much. That's a bad ratio. See where the least of the ratios would be. Spend 20 to save 10. Nope. So really, we're right at the $100 mark. Anything below that is just not that great because that's the bottom of the ratio. Spend 10 to save 10. Okay, so let's go through our options. The M50, the Hawk, and the Storm A, and I suppose, I mean, the Gladius is 90. You're spending 20 to save 10. I don't like that ratio. I don't even like the Mako. Long-term savings is what really matters. Again, if you really want the Nova and you're completing it today, it doesn't really matter which one of these 4 or 5 that you would use, but for long-term savings, you're going to pick one of these $100 ones because that's going to maximize the savings. Regardless of what happens in the future with pricing and whatnot, you're spending 10 to save 10, right? So let's quickly go through the options we have in the CCU game app. So the Nova itself has had quite a few war bond sales in the past. There's 3 listed here, but I am nearly certain there was one before that. I think when it originally went on sale. I'm almost positive I have one from back then. I can go check the dates or something later. I don't want to do it during this video, but I'm almost positive it's had more than these 3 that are listed. So it's come up relatively often, right? Twice last year and once this year. Yay, today. So it does make a decent option to use the Nova in any of your chains. Going for the first option, the M50. Yeah, this one's not great because there's no Warbonds here. It's never had a Warbond sale that I can recall. I think it has had free ones. Again, for those newcomers, there used to be free, yes, absolutely 100% free cross chassis upgrades, which is long-term for CCU. They had a few of them in the store a long time ago. You could get things like Vanguard Warden to the Merchantman, which is insane now because of the price change of the Merchantman. Those sorts of things happen for, I don't even know how long they had them, but those of us that have been playing for a long time do have those, so I do reference them from time to time, thinking back to fonder days. But the idea back then was to give a free upgrade for ships that were priced exactly the same. So if you wanted to try a ship that was the same price as the ship you had, but obviously a very different ship, they were offering free CCUs, so you could just go back and forth between them and try things out. I think there were some limits that were put on it or something. I forget. Again, this was back in 2016, so my memory's foggy from back then. But anyway, they stopped offering those for obvious reasons, huge price changes, etc. Like, I think I have a couple. I think I had originally 2 of the, I think it was the Warden, maybe the Harbinger to Merchantman, which that's like a $250 worth of savings right there now if I ever apply it. I did apply it in my Bandy Merchantman chain, so that's partly why it cost me so little money. Anyway, I digress. No Warbond CCUs here, which tends to mean it's a rare ship to hit the CCU Warbond cycle. So try to not use it unless you did happen to pick one up when they existed. The Hawk, still relatively rare. It's only had one in that I can recall. It may have had one back pre-2018 as well. But again, those of you that are new, that doesn't much matter to you, does it? We're trying to figure out the best play for the future and whatever chain you're building now. And if this fits into the chain you want, well, the Hawk makes a better choice than the M50. So let's see what's next. Next up is a Storm AA. New vehicle that has just hit the verse. Not just, but it's pretty recent, guys. So no Warbond sales yet. Not a great choice. Just not a great choice. I would pick the Hawk over this. Then we go to the Mako. So the Mako's up next, and yeah, no Warbond CCUs here either. It may have had one way back when, but that doesn't help anybody now or in the future, so we're just going to chalk this up as not a great choice. Hawk still reigns here in this one. The Gladius has had 2 recently, so this, although it's a lower price point than the Hawk, has had more Warbonds, so maybe it's more likely. I don't know. If you've got both already, obviously go with the Hawk. It's going to save you more money, and you can use the Gladius in a different chain. But again, if you, for whatever reason, maybe you had, okay, yeah, if you've got a, 100? If you've given out 100 referrals, oh gosh, let me double check that. Yeah. Oh, no. Where? I thought it was in here somewhere. Gladius and Gold. If you've given out 10 referrals, you get a free Gladius. So if you haven't made 10 referrals yet, you can work towards that, and you can even work towards that in the CCU game, right? So again, for those that are new, you create a second account, use your own referral code. Mine's right here in case you guys want to feel super, super generous. Thanks. I saw that guy. Thank you. Appreciate that. So you can start a new account with your own referral code, or of course mine, because you're super generous, and then buy $40 worth of Warbond CCUs, wait 30 days, I think it's 30 days, gift those Warbond CCUs to your other account, and basically you get 1 referral point for that $40 spent on the second account. So you get a referral reward for your own accounts that you're spending money on. See how this works? To get 10, again, that's $400 or something spent, right? So if it's all you, well, you're still spending $400, but you're getting a free $90 ship out of it too. Or is it 95? Let's get back to the CCU game. Where was I? Gladius, $90. Okay. So you still get a free $90 ship out of it. So if you have that, and if you put in the work, or if you've got, 9 other friends to come in and then you use your own code on a couple Warbond accounts, then great. You'll hit 10 and you get a free one. And then this would make sense. That's really the only reason that would make sense. Going down the price stack, hull A, again, you're leaving money on the table, and it's less likely than even a Gladius for that matter. So not a great option. I would still choose the Hawk, then the Gladius over the hull A. What's next? Storm hasn't had one yet. So it had Warbond pricing when it released, but not a Warbond CCU. Not that I'm aware of. I could have missed it, I suppose, but it's also not listed here, and it's a pretty new vehicle. I didn't say it that time. I didn't say ship. It's a new vehicle, so less likely to hit the Warbond cycle. And again, it's 90 versus the $100 Hawk, so ideally you would pick the Hawk. So that's it for Warbond CCUs, and there's nothing of note in the store as far as standalone ship discounts or game packs or even just regular packs. Looks like it's just a Warbond CCU sale for Jumptown 2.1, which has now returned. So hopefully you guys get out there and enjoy that. And as always, keep saving that money. Zi-Tek, out.